Hello everyone, my name is Despoina Christodoulaki and I am presenting research for my master thesis in Management and Digital Transformation at the Hellenic Mediterranean University, supervised by Dr. Konstantinos Vassakis. My topic is Generative AI Readiness among women entrepreneurs and professionals in Crete. Specifically, focusing on what I term the intention-use gap and the conditions required for responsible adoption. Let me start with the core tension motivating this study. Women entrepreneurs and professionals in Crete clearly demonstrate awareness of generative AI and can articulate its potential value for their work. However, actual adoption remains limited, partial and uneven across sectors and prefectures. This discrepancy is what I define as the intention-use gap, the observable distance between expressed willingness to adopt Gen AI, actual, sustained use in professional practice. This matters because Gen AI literacy is becoming increasingly important for professional competitiveness. At the same time, uneven adoption may deepen exciting digital inequalities, especially in regional and gendered contexts that remain under-researched. To position this study theoretically, I draw on two foundational technology adoption models. Davis, 1989, Technology Acceptance Model proposes perceived usefulness and ease-of-use primary drivers of adoption. Venkatesh and colleagues extended this in 2003 with UTAUT, incorporating performance, expectancy, effort expectancy, and social influence. However, neither framework fully captures ecosystem-level conditions, regional infrastructure, gendered access, local advisory support that shape readiness in peripheral entrepreneurial contexts such as Crete. This theoretical gap is precisely what motivates my research questions. This study aims to examine Gen AI readiness among women entrepreneurs and professionals in Crete, focusing on the gap between intention and use, the conditions for responsible adoption. This is defined through four research questions. First, the current level of awareness and actual use. Second, gender-related dimensions of access, confidence and integration. Third, perceived benefits versus barriers. And fourth, the support structures needed for confident adoption. Methodologically, I adopted a mixed methods explanatory sequential design following Cruiswell's 2014 framework. The quantitative strand consisted of a structured Google Forms, questionnaire using Likert scale items, yielding 80 valid responses from Crete-based women professionals and entrepreneurs. The qualitative strand involved one focus group with 5 participants from marketing, technology, the primary sector, and education, analyzed thematically. The integration logic is sequential. Quantitative findings establish the overall pattern, and the focus group explores depth and context. I want to flag upfront that convenience sampling is a limitation. Findings are indicative rather than statistically generalizable. This table summarizes the key variables in my analytical model: awareness, use, perceived usefulness, barriers, support structures, and intention to use its operationalized through Likert scale or categorical indicators. Defining these constructs explicitly, essential for transparency in how the intention-use gap was measured. Here is the sample profile: 80 women professionals and entrepreneurs based in Crete, spanning marketing, technology, education, trade, and the primary sector, recruited through the professional networks, social media, and formal channels. Geographically, Heraklion accounts for 83% of respondents, meaning Chania, Lassithi, and Rethymno are underrepresented, a limitation I return to later. This table maps each research question onto corresponding variables and statistical tests. The first research question was addressed using descriptive statistics, the second research question using Mann-Whitney U-test, the third research questions using the Kruskal-Wallis test, and the fourth research questions using Spearman's row correlations. Instrument reliability was accessed via Cronbach's alpha and McDonald's omega with a significance threshold of 0.05 and false discovery rate correction applied to control for multiple comparisons. Turning to findings, GenAI used among respondents in practical and communication-oriented rather than deeply integrated. Text generation and editing dominates at 63.8% of respondents, the most accessible entry point. Notably, 31.2% report no current use at all. Higher complexity applications such as chatbots at 15% and code or low-code tools at 10% remain marginal. This pattern indicates surface level rather than strategic integration. This brings me to the central finding of this study. Participants score expected benefits and perceived usefulness above the scale midpoint of 3.0, signaling genuine recognition of GenAI's value. However, intention to use remains only moderately present at 3.08, and critically perceived support structure score, a notably low 2.34 out of 5. This asymmetry between positive intent and weak enabling conditions constitutes the intention use gap at the heart of this study. In short, women see the opportunity but lack the scaffolding to act confidently on it. So what does this mean? GenAI readiness is shaped by a constellation of factors: digital skills and confidence, trust in AI outputs, responsible governance, and access to local support structures. Consistent with Mariani and Duiven's 2024 argument, this study's scholarly contribution is to reframe GenAI adoption among women entrepreneurs as an ecosystem readiness challenge rather than locating the gap in individual reluctance or technology aversion. It points instead to structural deficits in training, advisory, infrastructure, and regional policy that require target institutional response. Before concluding, I want to be transparent about limitations. The convenient sample of 80 respondents and the Heraclian-heavy geographic distribution limits statistical generalizability. Future research should employ probability sampling across all Cretan prefectures, longitudinal designs to track adoption over time, and comparative across regional analysis. Thank you very much for your attention.